Hi everyone, I'm super excited to host Yael Hanan, co-founder of Pelles AI. I had the opportunity to meet her around 2.5 years ago in SF and got to know about the product and like this is solving such a big need in the market and then following the Pelles journey. Very excited to have you on my show.
Thank you, Mayur. I'm very happy to be here today.
Can you walk us through your college days at the time? What were you interested in, and how has your career journey that led to Palace?
Yeah, sure. So I went to law school. I thought that this is what I want to do in life. Really enjoyed being a student. Really didn't like to learn, to be honest. So I loved everything around being a student, I guess. Then I graduated from law school, took the bar exams, and worked as a lawyer. And even to be honest, I worked as a construction lawyer, to be exact. Got into construction law very, very coincidentally, but just find myself fell in love in the industry. Like I still remember the first time you walk in the street, there's nothing there. Then you walk in the same street, a couple of years later, you have this huge building, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was a part of this. Yeah. And I did that for almost 6 years, got to work with a lot of different stakeholders across the industry. Really, really liked it, basically.
Any mentors who played a big pivotal role in your career trajectory?
Mentors. Well, my previous boss at the law firm was a mentor of mine for many years. But then at some point in my career, I stopped being a lawyer after almost 6 years. I stopped being a lawyer and started working for a tech startup in the medical device industry, very different. I was early there. I did mainly sales, a bit of BD, and figured out that this is actually what I want to do when I grow up. Build my own startup, have my own company. I also realized that it wouldn't be in the medical device industry, which I find that I didn't like at all. And now I'm lucky enough to get to combine both of the things I love, which is construction industry and startups.
You're picking all the most challenging and difficult industry, lawyers, healthcare, construction. I see a trend now. But I'm kind of curious to know when you're entering a new industry, how do you acquire knowledge about the pain points, opportunities, find the right people to like, okay, this is a great area to solve a problem.
I think it's mainly about coming open minded and curious and listen more than you talk. And if you keep those three things, you're open minded, you're curious, and you listen, those pain points or those challenges, they'll just show up in front of you.
Throughout this journey, do you have any regrets?
Any regrets? I'm too young to have regrets. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. No, not right now. Not right now. Maybe down the line, like asking a couple of years.
Walk us through the first idea conceptualization of Pelley's. How did you come up those days?
That's interesting. So I'm a part of a group of four co-founders. So it's myself, Ido Glantz, who is our CTO, Matan Wexler, who is our co-founder VP R&D, and Nofarno Fagang, who is our co-founder COO. Three of us, we went to the same high school together. Fourth one, friends from university. This is kind of how we all decided we want to do this thing together. And we all have different connections to the industry itself. And our starting point was actually at the Formal Labs, like pre-seed accelerator program by Brick and Mortar Ventures in Built World. So we were just getting started, the four of us. We knew we want to solve a problem in the construction industry. We had a few problems in mind and we got accepted to the program. And those 3 months were incredible for us because we got to be connected and related to all of the built worlds and brick and mortar network. Like, actually be with industry professionals from different fields, different stakeholders, and get to like really explore the different challenges. And that helped us get the perspective in eventually doing what we do today.
God, and I think they have another cohort going on right now with a demo day next month. So I really like Alice and the team putting up like a IC for construction and getting all this cohort because construction is a very relationship driven business, and through that particular accelerator, they might open up a lot of opportunities to the personas you might be targeting. And if you were to share like 2 or 3 lessons learned as part of the Formwork Labs experience, what would those be?
Wow, you take me back. I actually spoke at one of their events literally yesterday, this cohort. So I think one lesson we've learned there that processes look very different across different stakeholders in the industry. And even if you look at the same stakeholders, let's say you're looking at mechanical subcontractors, right, which is one of the ICPs we target today, I haven't met two mechanical contractors who do things the same way. So realizing that lack of standardization and the variety within the industry, I think that was one big lesson we took from the cohort. I think a second lesson, which is very important to anyone who wants to start a tech business in construction, is be humble. Like you come on a job site or you go into a project team and these guys have the hardest job and they work really hard and they know where their challenges are. And just come humble, like don't come in that mentality of like, you have a problem, I'm going to fix it kind of thing, because that won't lead you anywhere. And the third one is you need a village, right? There's the saying that you need a village to raise a child. You also need a village to form a startup. So have your village early on, and it could be your early investors, it could be advisors, it could be other co-founders of other startups, but like have your village of people you wanna, consult with, talk with, throws idea at, kind of thing.
Yes, that's such a great point. 'Cause I always think like you're learning so many things as a founder, and having a founder who's one level up, three levels up, the same level to tinker out how are they making decisions or strategies really helps. Like, are there any like role models you follow in terms of startups?
That's a hard question. I'm gonna pass. I don't think there's many. See, I come from Tel Aviv. It's one of the most vibrant tech ecosystems out there. I have many fellow co-founders who I look up to or I try to get advice from. Your permission, I won't name names, so I won't forget anyone.
Garden problem. Can you uh, tell us more about Pelles, what problem it solves, and the product? A bit deep dive.
Okay, let's do it. So we are building a pre-construction platform for trade contractors specifically. So we don't work with GCs, we don't work with architects, we don't work with owners, only trade contractors. And the idea is to help them accelerate pre-construction in a way that they can look at win more jobs, but not just more jobs, also the right job for them specifically, saved in time, avoid costly mistakes. Because eventually pre-construction or free-con, like they would call it, right? We're talking about a phase that is heavy on documentation and changes. And those tabs, they come in last to the project, right? They're reactive. So they need to accommodate to whatever that GC threw at them right now. And each project looks differently. And they're the ones who need to figure out how they take that pile of mess and turn it into ductwork or conduit raceways or whatever trade they are. Um, and we are building a platform to help them streamline that entire process, automate it, put way more efficiency into it. Yeah, that's in a nutshell, I guess.
Damn, that's such a powerful problem you solved. And how much time it took to develop POC MVP?
So right now, we have a product that is live in beta version in the hands of dozens of customers. Getting to that took a couple of months, almost a year maybe, really fine tuning what is the problem we want to solve, what does that initial solution look like, who we want to solve it for. It's now in the market with users for a few months and reactions have been incredible. Fine tuning and adjusting every single day, it's a journey.
Can you share us lessons on customer interviewing and how to extract insights on what problems to solve, what to prioritize?
So remember how we talked about come out open-minded and curious and listen more than you speak. So I guess those are the main lessons. And also try to look for the things they won't tell you, right? So because sometimes they know what they need and they will tell you that, but then you look at them how they use the last feature you just released, and you realize that they do something that you didn't even expect they're going to do with it. And I don't know, they copy and paste something from the platform to another place. And you're like, okay, why are you guys doing that?
Mm.
And then you explain like the workflow, and then you're like, okay, maybe I can now add a feature that would automate that workflow or put it into the platform. So like kind of just be there, right? Be next to them, see how they work, see what they need, and really like again, try to listen, I think, more than everything and be humble about it.
And how do you prepare the roadmap and strategies for Pele's like quarterly or annual goals? What's the framework?
So we have annual long-term vision, but again, in early stages, it's like dog years startup. Like things move so fast. So you have like the annual vision, but the goals are set quarterly with a monthly execution plan. And it's also constantly changing, adapting, evolving, depending on, what comes up from recent customer visits or feedback or the 5 sales calls we had this week that all came up with the same thing or same like pushback. So kind of we try to iterate very quickly and we at this point don't really stick to stringent timeline.
Makes sense, like getting that flexibility along the way. I've seen the first set of adopters or users comes from founders network, investor intros, and the people they know. How do like and then overcome the next hurdle of getting consistent clients in a sustainable, consistent manner?
So I'll say something that is maybe a bit unorthodox, but at least for us, the first cohort of users didn't come from a personal network, right? We're all originally based out of Tel Aviv, Israel, and we sell to trade contractors in the US. It's not like we had a network of trade contractors in the US. So all of our like early adopters, which we love and cherish and forever be grateful for it, they all came from hard work, cold reaches on LinkedIn, conferences, connections from other people we've connected with and followed our journey, those kinds of things. And today, if I'm looking at our pipeline, basically we have our two main sources of leads. One is conferences and events, and the other one is inbound. So almost like 50% of our pipeline is inbound these days.
How does a day or a week in your life look like?
Really long, depending on what week, right? But if I'm traveling a lot, both to like conferences and events and customers and stuff like that. But if I'm not traveling, I would, wake up in the morning, drink coffee, send my kids to school, go to the office. First of all, read through emails and like prioritize what's urgent for this morning, what's the afternoon, look at my calendar, which calls I have today, have a daily sync with the team. Pretty normal stuff.
Nice. And are there like days of like more customer focus, more on like building, like weekly? How do you divide?
So Sundays, I work Sundays. Sundays are dedicated to weekly goal and like more high level prioritization and like internal tasks. And then every day, usually the first thing in the first couple of hours in the morning are dedicated to emails and different tasks I need to perform. And then from midday until the end, it's usually calls, investors, customers, potential customers, those kinds of things. At early stage, you do everything, right? So I can have a call with our accountant and then a call with our cleaning lady and then a call with a potential customer, like one after the other.
Yeah, yeah. It's the genderless role. How do you describe the culture of Palace?
Good question. I think that it's innovative, is dedication, hard work, and like fearless battle, basically.
Nice. Since you have attended a lot of conferences, what would be like some tips to get the most mileage out of a conference?
Understand who your ICP is, understand what drives them and what would make them stop at your booth if you're having a booth. Do preliminary work about being at the conference. Are you targeting specific people even? Like you're targeting that company, but that specific person in the company. Know who they are, know how to speak with them, make sure that your pitch is relevant. Be out there. Sometimes I see people in the conferences when you walk and they're like at their phones. No, have your head held high, look who you want to talk with, start a conversation. And just again, it always goes back to be curious, right? You start a conversation with someone and they don't necessarily like match your ICP or they don't necessarily be your customer, but you never know, right? So yeah, so I think really good prep work and understanding your ICP would be a key, but also at a conference itself, be engaged, be mindful, have your head up high.
Do you think organizing a private dinner or a side event, particularly for your ICP, is a good strategy?
I think it's a great strategy. I think one of the problems in side events at conferences is that there's a lot of competition on attention. If you join forces with other companies and you like host three companies host a side event, that's great. But if you try to host your own, most likely you'll be, especially if you're like an early stage startup, you'll be ran over by a larger event from a larger
Mm,
company. So side event at a conference could be a challenge and like it's expensive. You're gonna spend a lot of money and then most of the people you wanted to invite will go to the social party. You did nothing. Uh,
mm.
but having dinners outside of conferences, like just on a Wednesday, that works at least for us.
Got it. And from all these years of operation, what are the sales activity you could do from Tel Aviv, and what are the sales activity you need to do in person in US?
To be honest, I don't think there's anything you need to do in person. I think being in person always helps to build a relationship, to build a trust, to build like the mutual language and understanding. But at least for now, we haven't seen that we don't need to do it. It's better, but there's no need. Like in post-COVID world, even construction, they're used to going on not Zoom but Teams and have a call um, and talk about whatever. So you don't need anything, but it's always better to be in person.
Interesting. Because I've seen, like, depending on the annual ticket size, some persona require more touch points for enterprise. Like some like, okay, if it works and happy to test your solution and close the deal over a call, you don't even need in person, which makes me think like there because of this AI world, people are being bombarded with cold emails, LinkedIn emails with, okay, here's my solution answer. And especially from like if you're outside industry and you don't have the network, how do you get the first call? I think like after first call, a lot of founders are great at sales. They can close the deal, close the pilot. How do you get the first call is the bottleneck.
First of all, I think it never gets easy. Even after the first call, you work very, very hard. How do you get that first call? To be honest, you just keep trying until you land it. You just keep trying. You don't take no for an answer. For us, at least, cold emails don't really work. Well, we're not really putting efforts into it at this point, but we try to build the company and our brand in a way that will drive people to us. And, a lot of referrals and stuff like that. At this point, when we already have a customer base, it's a bit easier. But at the beginning, it's just keep trying until you land one, basically.
And for the inbound, is it like content marketing which is driving inbound, or are there other strategies for increasing inbound?
Well, it's a mix of both content marketing and additional activities we're doing to build our brand. But with your permission, I would rather not really talk about that in detail.
Yes, yes, no problem at all. I'm just wondering that there are different go-to-market playbooks, and a very common playbook is go-to-conference. But I listen to your story, and there's so many different ways you can drive traffic, get clients, inbound, outbound. So there are like scalable playbooks of GTM as well, apart from just events.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think it really depends on your stage. At the very early stage, they always say do things that don't scale up. Don't worry about the scale. Worry about like the first five customers. Now we're past the five customers. Worry about the next 50. And then gradually you build that playbook that is right for your company. Which should be some classic moves, some new things, a mix of those. Just like, keep your eyes open on what's working and what's not.
Yes. What has been your proudest moment of Pelles?
Oh man. Oh wow. I think the day we registered a company. And it's like a super bureaucratic thing, right? You have that person you send all the paperwork and to register you online for being like a Delaware speaker. But I think like I remember us all four of us looking at each other and we're like, okay,
We're doing it.
I'm getting this is the thing. I think that's the first proud moment, and then I think the second is that we moved to our own offices just like a couple of months back. And I think that also, like, after we set everything up and everybody, sitting at your place, the first time you walk into it and you're like, okay, now it's like, it's no more work, no more working out of the garage. We have a proper office. It's really nice. Um, they're like, okay, good.
Amazing. And I'm curious to know now. It's first January 2020. What are we looking? What's Pales doing at that point?
Probably at this point, we have hundreds of customers who are using the platform daily, saving hours a day, saving a lot of money in the process, and just bringing value to the industry. That's where Palace is at.
Nice.
Trade contractors specifically.
Are there any podcasts, Twitter, LinkedIn people you follow that to keep you update with new knowledge and like other information?
Oh, yeah, of course. So first of all, like in construction, I listen, well, obviously to you, but I also listen to Contact Crew, Construction Pros. Um, I think those would be the main two in construction. And then more broadly, like I love podcasts about history. There's a couple I listen to in Hebrew. Yeah.
I see. I have a rapid fire round, and generally, it's very challenging for people to have answer it in 5 to 7 words, but we'll try our best. Which city is in your travel bucket list?
Wow. Um, oh,
Your favorite movie?
I don't know. I can't think of what I saw maybe last time. I'm sorry.
I'll do easy one. Your favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant is in Jerusalem, and it's called Machne Yehuda. It's like a market restaurant where it has a fusion of like Israeli cuisine.
3 words your friend would describe you as.
Highly energetic. I don't know what would be the third. That's embarrassing. I'm
Any book which made a big impact in your life?
You should have prepared me to those questions. It made a big impact on my life. That is a hard question. Probably, what, you're going to edit this, right? So there's a book, well, it's written in Hebrew originally, but also translated to English called Sapiens, A Brief of History of Humankind. Gives me a new perspective about the history of the world that I love.
Amazing. If you were to get a chance to give an advice to 18-year-old Yael, what would that be?
Try things, be brave.
For people who are listening to this or watching this on YouTube, any parting words, any topics we didn't cover in this interview, which you'd like to share on a closing note?
No, follow your dreams, I guess.
And that's such a great statement for people who want to test Pelles. You can check out the website. You can reach out to Yael on LinkedIn. She's super active. So thanks a lot for your time for doing this.
Thank you, Mayur. It was my pleasure to be here today.